Hi everyone. Today I really wanted to talk about that decision-making table and how you as a new finance leader can get a seat at that leadership table rather than finding out decisions after they've made. Hi, my name is Alysha Randall and I'm a fractional CFO, and I also train new and aspiring finance leaders within startups and scale-ups. So if that sounds like you, then please do click on subscribe so that you get notified when I make a new video. And today I really wanted to talk about how you can get a seat at that leadership table and why it's really important to make sure that you do. So the role of a finance leader, not just in startup and scale up, but across the board, is obviously much more than just back office number crunching. Financial operations is part of a finance manager, financial controller. It is not part of a finance leader's role. Now, obviously, in a startup or scale up, you may not have a huge team, and you may just have a finance manager or bookkeeper, maybe FP&A if you're lucky, and that's it. So there is an element that you do have to do that financial controlling role until you're big enough to hire a financial controller. But that doesn't mean that you ignore the leadership part of the role. And that is that you need to be part of the leadership team and actively help shape the strategic direction of the business. So CFOs really, or finance leaders, must really transition from being a reactive manager, so hearing about decisions after they've been made and reacting to them, to becoming more proactive and being part of making those decisions. So that shift is really essential to being seen and being part of the leadership team and making sure that the company's future is crafted and you're part of that. So in many cases, when I'm working with finance professionals in my FLF course, sometimes they do find themselves stuck in that reactive cycle and just responding to financial results, to closing the books, but actually most of the time firefighting unexpected challenges that happen as and when. So even though these are really critical and obviously all of these things have to be done, your role really should evolve to anticipating the needs of the business, influencing outcomes, and really adding tangible value to those leadership discussions. So proactive leadership does mean being part of those discussions and also determining the company's future. So you want to be part of the leadership team, but also part of a close relationship with the founder or CEO or both. So it's thinking about the future of the business, focusing on that strategy, thinking about foresight, thinking about, oh, if we do this, this could happen. If we do this, this could happen. And then establishing yourself really as an integral part of the leadership team. So why a seat at that leadership team matters? So, as I've kind of touched on, the first one is shaping business strategy. So you bring a real unique perspective from the table. So not only do you have those financial insights, so you really understand the company's operations, but you're also one of the only people that really get that holistic view. So if you have a CCO, COO, CTO, they very much have a department that focuses on the one thing. CTO probably less so, but a CCO, they're very thinking about the commercial direction of the business. A COO is thinking about the operations of the business, whereas when you're a finance function, you get that holistic view. So you do bring a unique perspective to the table. The second one is driving that decision making. So, the leadership table is where those decisions happen. So without a seat, you really risk it as being seen as a reactive bystander rather than a strategic partner. So if you're part of that decision-making table, you're really ensuring that the company's financial health and sustainability are considered with all of those major decisions. Number 3 is building influence. So being part of a leadership team helps to establish your credibility and your influence around the business. So you're not just somebody who sits in the dark corner with all the folders, probably less so now, but with all the paperwork. You're actually a go-to advisor for the CEO, for the founder, and for other leaders. So they do want to go to you to hear what you have to say. And number 4 is elevating the finance function. So finance leaders who are part of that decision-making process, they really then understand the finance function a bit better. And it's not just a cost center, but actually is a critical value-adding component of the business. So how do you develop your leadership skills to secure your seat at the table? So understanding the business beyond just numbers. A really strong startup CFO knows the ins and outs of businesses, not just the finances. So they learn about the department, learn about the challenges that other departments face, know how finance can support these goals. And this helps you to add value when you're having those leadership discussions. And often this information can be gleaned through business partnership, which I have talked about before, and I'll leave a link above and below. You also need to be able to communicate really effectively. So you want to be able to explain complex financial concepts in clear and simple terms. So when you're working with different stakeholders and with the leadership team and sometimes even the board of directors, you're able to communicate with them without using accounting jargon. So accounting jargon is not impressive. It's just a deterrent to people understanding you properly. So keep that for the auditors and for your team and just speak in a clear, concise way. You want to develop strong relationships across the organizations. As I've mentioned, business partnership is a brilliant way to do that. So make sure you check that out as well. Embracing strategic thinking, so shifting away from that day-to-day financial operations to more of that long-term strategy. So thinking about how can the company's finances align with these goals and how can you help navigate potential challenges? And then finally, building confidence. So confidence is key to being a strong leader. You have to take ownership of your decisions, present insights with conviction, and back them up with analysis if you have it. So think about how you can build your confidence. Even if you're not a leader today, it's very important to work on developing your confidence now rather than after you've become a leader for a while, and it sometimes can be a bit harder. When you get that leadership role, that doesn't mean confidence is instilled. You do have to work on it, and plenty of people who are in leadership role are still working on confidence and potentially imposter syndrome. So moving from decision taker to decision maker. So the most significant benefit of having that seat at the table is being able to move from being a decision taker, as I said, being reactive, to a decision maker. So simply reacting to decisions made by others, you'll have the opportunity to shape them from the start, but you really want to solidify your position as a trusted leader and an essential member of that leadership team. So this is really important aspect of moving from a manager to a leader. So you really must recognize that your value extends much further beyond financial reporting. So if this is something you really need help with, it is something we absolutely focus on in the FLF course. So if that is interesting to you, then click on the link below. Otherwise, I do have a leadership guide that's free. It's a free resource. You can download that as well and check that out. So as I mentioned, if you are a new or aspiring finance leader in startups and scale-ups, don't forget to click on subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.